and welcome back to the War Room with Jael, and I am your host, Jael. So for those of you who have been watching this channel since the very beginning, the very first video, which was about, a month or so ago, do you remember when I said, now for those of you who may know me under a different name, more on that to come in a future upload, so stay tuned. Well, now we've developed a rapport, solid foundation, building a relationship. So now, I think it's time for me to let you in on the story behind the name Jael. The story of Kelly, a seed was planted. As many of you may know, my birth name is Kelly. And I remember as a little girl, my mother telling me the story of how she and my dad came to decide on the name Kelly for me. And I think at the time, if I remember correctly, they were looking at 3 names. It was Kelly, Daphne, and Elaine. I know, 3 very different names. But there was a model and actress by the name of Kelly Harmon who subsequently did a very popular commercial for a major radio station in the area where I lived. My parents thought it was catchy, it stuck, and here we are with Kelly. Simple as that, not a complex story. Now fast forward a few years into my childhood, and I took it upon myself to look up the meaning of my name. And what I found was its origin was Gaelic or Irish, and the meaning was warrior, lively, aggressive. The problem was I was a painfully quiet, shy child. I mean painfully shy, very quiet child. So much so that if you looked up painfully shy in the dictionary, it would be a picture of me as a little girl, like, yeah, it was really to that level. And yes, I know I've come a very long way, but when I read the words warrior, lively, aggressive, I hated the meaning of my name because it felt like it did not apply to any part of me, like not even a little bit, not at all. And in fact, I was embarrassed by the meaning of it. And it wasn't like people were asking me, hey, so what does your name mean? I mean, I'm not by far the only Kelly. It's a relatively common name, but yet and still I felt embarrassed because that wasn't me, like not at all. With the exception of the fact that there was a great basketball player by the name of Kelly Tripucka who used to play for the Detroit Pistons back in the day, and the Detroit Pistons have been my favorite basketball team since I was 3 years old, and still are. With the exception of the University of Michigan, of course, go blue, hail to the victors. But I did not mind that connection to Kelly Tripucka, but warrior, lively, aggressive, not so much. But shout out to you Pistons. But I digress. So fast forward even more years. I'm into my adulthood, but now I found my rhythm and my voice, which I continue to evolve even to this day. And I thought back to those many years ago when I looked up the meaning of Kelly, and it clicked. Now, I don't know if my parents knew exactly what I was to become, but I am profoundly grateful that by divine appointment, I was given this name because I am a warrior. I am lively. And while I wouldn't necessarily categorize myself as aggressive, because off camera, my personality is fairly chill, fairly laid back, I am aggressive about using my voice and encouraging and supporting others to use theirs. So when people call me Kelly, they call me warrior, and it reminds me of who I am. So now you understand the connection, my connection to warriors. The story of Jael, Warrior Ways. Well, that all sounds great, but what exactly does this have to do with Jael, you may ask? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Well, just as some authors have pen names, I have a video name. I'm not sure if that's a real thing. I might have just made that up, but we're gonna go with it anyway. But I came up with the concepts for my businesses during a period of deep prayer, introspection, meditation, and fasting. And I came across a warrior heroine by the name of Jael in the Old Testament, Judges 4th chapter. And sometimes it's pronounced Jael or spelled with a Y. And I won't go into the entire story because you can read it for yourself if you're interested. But Jael is what we may consider today a homemaker, as she primarily stayed in her tent because that is how many people lived in that day. And I would say her superpower actually was hospitality. Her gift, her talent was making people feel at home. You know how homemakers, they can welcome you in, they can invite you in, make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, give you some good food, you know, all of that stuff, make you feel real relaxed. I feel like that was really her superpower. And she isn't really what I think the average person would associate with the word warrior. I mean, she wasn't some big strong Adonis that was valiantly riding in on a horse with, you know, a sword up in the air like we see in so many monuments and pictorial depictions and things of that nature. But what resonated with me about her story is the fact that she used her inherent gifts specific to her to prevail. I'm here to tell you that being a warrior is less about the sword and more about the strategy and tapping into your authenticity, because we all have gifts, talents, skills that are unique and specific to us that no one else has, that no one can finesse like we can. It is not necessary to look, act, think, speak, move, be something or someone we are not. In fact, we are undercutting ourselves and being disrespectful to the core of our being when we act as imposters. I mean, hear me on this. If you speak softly yet powerfully, then be that. If you are a humorist, then be that. If you happen to be a big, strong Adonis, then be that. Just be authentic to the core of your being and you will prevail. So how many of us remember that old saying we learned as kids? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Y'all remember that one? Yeah, you do. I know you do. Well, while that may be true in some cases, I assert that words can in fact define a vision. So take care in the language that you use to express your thoughts and the names that you call yourselves and those near to you, because you never know how a name can shape what you become. Well, warriors, that is the story, and hopefully it gave you more insight behind my adopted name, Jael. And also, hopefully you know by now that when I call you warriors, it is a term of endearment. So, here is the challenge for this week. Look up the meaning of your name. It can be your first name, middle name, last name, or all three. If your name has a meaning, how do you feel it represents you? And lastly, if you feel the meaning of your name does not represent you, then what do you represent? Comment below with your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching. And until next time, my brave, bold, and bodacious warriors, be fearless, be faithful, be visionary, be victorious. Hey warriors, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you never miss an upload. Also, follow me on Twitter at War Room Coaching for even more business and life motivation. Have a visionary day.